believe hit a new one. And the reason that Prince William is so concerned about this, of course, is that it's just the beginning. Do not be deluded to believe that Harry and Meghan do not have a whole year to slowly but surely commercialize the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Yes, it's gross and grim, but this couple...
Prince William's reported anger over Meghan Markle's Althorp photographs is not hard to understand. This was not simply another royal holiday picture, another carefully filtered family moment, or another attempt to soften the Sussex image after a difficult news cycle. The image that caused the strongest reaction appeared to show Prince Harry walking with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet at Althorp, the Spencer family estate where Princess Diana grew up and where she is buried. Harry and Archie appeared to be carrying flowers, which led many royal watchers to believe the family may have been on the way to Diana's final resting place. Harry and Meghan did not explicitly identify the location or say they were visiting the grave, but the symbolism was obvious enough for the story to explode. And for William, that symbolism touches one of the most private and painful parts of his life. The argument is not that Harry should never take his children to Althorp. Of course, he should be able to introduce Archie and Lilibet to their grandmother's story in a private, respectful way. Diana was Harry's mother as much as she was William's. The Sussex children never met her, and it is natural that Harry would want them to understand where she came from, where she rests, and what she meant to him. The issue is not the visit itself.
Another streaming service potentially, of course it has to be offered to Netflix first, will pay out the big bucks. So then we get to Rob Shooting's new reporting over Prince William's reaction to that. He also alleges that King Charles is even shocked. Well, I'm not sure how shocked King Charles is, to be honest, given he's made this offer for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace. I think these days Charles just ignores what Harry is doing because he doesn't want to know the reality of quite how.
The issue is the decision to place even a suggestive image of that visit into a public Instagram carousel under the casual caption, "Summer Holiday." For many critics, that crossed a line, because Althorp is not just scenery. It is a grave, a family shrine, and one of the most emotionally loaded locations in modern royal history. That is why the backlash has reached beyond the usual anti-Meghan voices. Even people who might normally defend a mother's right to share family photographs seemed uneasy about this one. The question was not whether Meghan is allowed to post holiday pictures. The question was whether a moment connected to Diana's grave should ever have become social media content. Some royal commentators reported that Prince William was deeply upset, and other outlets claimed King Charles was taken aback. Those reports should be treated carefully, because private royal emotions are rarely confirmed directly. But the wider reaction is real. Many people looked at the image and felt that some family moments are too sacred to be used in a public narrative. The timing makes the concern sharper. Diana died on the 31st of August 1997, which means the 30th anniversary of her death is coming in 2027. That anniversary will inevitably bring documentaries, retrospectives, interviews, archive footage, books, magazine covers, and renewed public debate about her life and legacy. The question now is whether Harry and Meghan will become part of that anniversary, commercially or publicly. Critics fear that the Althorp image is not an isolated family photo, but the opening move in a longer year of Diana-centered content. There is no proof that a Netflix documentary filmed at Althorp is already planned, and it would be irresponsible to state that as fact. But it is fair to say that the fear exists because Harry and Meghan have repeatedly turned private royal material into media products. That fear is rooted in history. In 2017, William and Harry took part in major documentaries, marking 20 years since Diana's death, including ITV's Diana, Our Mother, and the BBC's Diana, 7 Days. William made clear at the time that speaking publicly about his mother was difficult, cathartic, and exceptional.
Horrified. Well, he's clearly not, is he? Because he's just about to let these two into Buckingham Palace. And as much as they may have made good on the promise not to share any pictures from Highgrove, I still believe that the king is taking a massive risk, because just because they haven't shared those pictures in this batch, it doesn't mean that it won't come in the future.
The impression was that the brothers were giving a rare, controlled, and perhaps final public reflection on Diana from the perspective of her sons. 10 years later, the brothers are estranged. Harry has written Spare. The Sussexes have made a Netflix series, and Diana's memory has become part of Harry's ongoing public identity. For William, who has generally been more guarded about using Diana's image and trauma in public, any suggestion that the 30th anniversary might become another Sussex platform would be deeply uncomfortable. This is where the divide between the brothers is most painful. Harry often frames Diana as the central emotional key to his life. The mother he lost, the wound that shaped him, the reason he distrusts the press, the figure he believes Meghan was mistreated like, the memory he feels compelled to defend. William also lost Diana, but he has handled that grief differently in public. He speaks of her sparingly, usually in carefully chosen contexts, and he appears protective of her memory without making it the engine of his public work. That difference has become a major fault line.
I still believe that the king is taking a massive risk, because just because they haven't shared those pictures in this batch, it doesn't mean that it won't come in the future. And actually, I think the Althorp pictures were far more insensitive to share than anything that were taken at Highgrove anyway. So for me, King Charles needs to know what Harry and Meghan are about. I think he probably does, and he's accepted it. He understands that he can't change them. He also understands that he needs them to make their own money, because he can't afford to open his...
Harry's supporters see him as keeping Diana's emotional truth alive. William's supporters see Harry as overusing a sacred family wound. The camera element is what makes the Althorp image especially sensitive. Diana's life was defined, distorted, and in some ways consumed by cameras. She used the media herself at times, but she was also hunted by it. Harry has spoken repeatedly about the trauma of seeing cameras around his mother and the horror of photographs connected to the aftermath of her death. That is why critics found it jarring to see a Diana-linked family pilgrimage transformed into a publicly posted image, however soft and indirect. The picture was not a paparazzi shot. It was not stolen. It was chosen. That distinction matters, because the Sussexes have always argued for control over their image. But control does not automatically make a private moment appropriate for public display. Meghan's defenders would say that the criticism is unfair. They would argue that parents are allowed to share meaningful family moments, that the children's faces were not shown directly, and that Harry has every right to bring his children to a place connected to his mother.
This is one of his, how do you put it, Brittany, real sensitive spots. Like, yes, he does ignore Harry day to day. He doesn't want to talk about Harry. He doesn't want to talk about Meghan. He just wants to get on with things. But we know, Brittany, that at the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, and it really is worth mentioning this, he made those documentaries with Harry, which must have been a nightmare for him, because their relationship at that point was pretty strained anyway, even though none of that had actually come.
They might also say that the backlash proves Meghan is attacked, whatever she does. Hide the children, and she is accused of secrecy. Show them, and she is accused of exploitation. There is some truth in the double bind. But the Althorp image is not an ordinary family snapshot. It carries Diana, grief, children, flowers, ancestry, and the Sussexes' long-running privacy contradiction all at once. That is why the response was so intense. The privacy contradiction is now one of the biggest problems Harry and Meghan face. They left royal duty partly under the banner of wanting safety, space, and freedom from intrusive media. They have complained about press behavior, online hostility, leaks, harassment, and the effect of exposure on family life. Yet Meghan's Instagram feed has increasingly become a curated window into the very private life they say they want protected. The children are often shown from behind or in partial profile, which does limit exposure.
Who had come through the trauma, were able to talk about it, were able to share their feelings and close the chapter. And so, of course, 10 years on, the fact that Harry is now back here commercializing his mother's death is going to upset William. But Brittany, I don't think it surprises him. I think he knew this was coming, don't you? If you value the whole truth and nothing but the truth on these words.
But privacy is not only about whether a face is visible, it is also about whether a child is being used to carry a message. A back-of-head photograph can still tell a story. A child with flowers at Althorp can still be made into a symbol. That is why critics focus so much on the way Archie and Lilibet are presented. The Sussex children are described as protected and private, yet they become central whenever the couple needs warmth, legitimacy, or emotional force. They appear in birthday posts, holiday albums, family anecdotes, security arguments, and reconciliation stories with King Charles. The children become proof of loving parenthood, proof of Diana's legacy, proof of royal connection, and proof that the king should maintain family ties. None of that is the children's fault. But it does mean that Harry and Meghan's privacy argument no longer sounds simple. They are not withdrawing the children from public narrative, they're controlling which pieces of that narrative the public receives. That is where William and Catherine's approach looks different. George, Charlotte, and Louis are public children in a constitutional sense, especially George, who is second in line to the throne. Their birthdays, Christmas appearances, trooping the colour moments, and major public events are part of the monarchy's public record.
Related to the royal family. And so Harry mined his own life, was spared. They mined their relationship with Harry and Meghan. And now they're most likely going to mine the death of Diana for their own personal gain. I mean, there's nothing more ghoulish than this, really, to be honest. I think we all can understand that Diana should just rest. And I just found it so incredibly disrespectful and ugly of Meghan, whose mother-in-law died, most likely seeing camera flashes as the last images of her life, being photographed by her.
Yet the Waleses usually keep the frame clear. A birthday portrait marks a milestone. A public ceremony reflects duty. A family walk to church belongs to royal tradition. The children are visible, but the purpose is obvious. With Archie and Lilibet, the purpose is often more slippery. Is the image about privacy, brand warmth, Diana, family healing, Instagram growth, or a response to negative press? The uncertainty is exactly what fuels criticism. The as ever issue adds a commercial layer to the story. Meghan's lifestyle brand has struggled to escape the sense that interest in it depends more on royal drama than on product substance. Third-party traffic analysis and commentary have suggested that buzz around the brand has softened after its initial launch, and critics have pointed to limited product range, inventory questions, and uneven promotion. Those figures should be treated as estimates rather than internal business data, because nobody outside the company has access to Meghan's full sales ledger. Still, the perception matters. If the brand is not steadily growing through products, then Meghan needs attention elsewhere. A summer photo album, a MasterChef appearance, and Diana-linked imagery all keep her in the public eye. That does not mean every photo is a sales tactic, but Meghan is a public figure building a lifestyle business, and Instagram is part of the business environment. When she posts a swimsuit image, family dinner, beach scenes, children, Portugal, and Althorp in one carousel, she is not only sharing memories, she is maintaining a public mood around herself. Relaxed, desirable, maternal, connected, European, royal adjacent, and emotionally significant. That mood is valuable. It supports the brand even when no product is directly mentioned. Lifestyle brands sell a feeling before they sell a jar, bottle, or box. Meghan understands that very well. The problem is that the feeling keeps leaning back on royal symbolism. As ever is supposed to be a domestic and lifestyle brand, but the biggest headlines around Meghan still come from royal access, royal titles, Harry, Diana, Archie and Lilibet, and family conflict.
Like the whole camera aspect of this, yes, there were no flashes, but the whole camera aspect of that and how Diana, of course, so much of her life was defined by cameras. I think the last thing she would want are cameras at her grave. I think William completely and utterly respects that. Everything William and his family have done at Althorp has been completely and utterly private. I don't even think we're aware of a trip they've made there. And I think that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong also as well with Harry and Meghan.
A brand built around jam, wine, flour sprinkles, preserves, cooking and hosting should eventually be able to stand on its own. If it cannot, then the royal connection remains the engine. That is why critics argue that Meghan cannot afford to let go of royal imagery. It is the one ingredient that reliably produces global attention. This is also why some critics believe Harry and Meghan may be tempted to use the 30th anniversary of Diana's death as part of their next media chapter. Again, that is speculation, not confirmed fact. But the logic is easy to understand. Diana remains one of the most powerful emotional figures in modern popular culture. Harry is her son. Meghan has often been compared favorably or unfavorably to Diana. Archie and Lilibet are Diana's grandchildren. Althorp provides a visual setting. The anniversary provides a news hook. Streaming platforms thrive on emotionally charged family legacy stories. If Harry and Meghan have footage, photographs, or personal reflections, the market would likely be interested. That is exactly what worries William's supporters. For William,
incredibly squeamish and ugly and disgusting, but that is Harry and Meghan. They literally have no scruples here. They have no morals in this situation.
No, they don't. And I mean, Brittany, the irony for me, just to pick up on your point, is I think they could have made money, but to do so, they would have had to not be focused on vengeance. And the problem is, their launch in Hollywood was so focused on vengeance, so focused on bringing down the British royal family, there was absolutely no thought.
the issue would not be that Harry remembers his mother. The issue would be whether remembrance becomes content. Diana belongs to both sons, but her public legacy is not a family asset to be divided commercially. William appears to have chosen restraint as a form of respect. Harry has chosen expression as a form of healing and advocacy. Those two approaches are almost impossible to reconcile when money, streaming platforms, and brand building enter the picture. What Harry may see as emotional truth-telling, William may see as exploitation. King Charles's position is more complicated. Reports have suggested he was shocked by the Althorp backlash, but his actions toward Harry have also indicated a desire to keep some family channel open. He met Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet at Highgrove in July. He is reportedly prepared to offer Harry accommodation at Buckingham Palace during a future UK visit. Charles may feel that as a father and grandfather, he cannot simply cut Harry off. He may also understand that if Harry and Meghan are financially independent, the palace is not responsible for funding them. But that creates a difficult moral and institutional question.
Herself seems to have forgotten about her Instagram during the summer holiday, and she's running an ad for something she does not have in stock. I mean, this is like business 101 failure, okay? You write, if this is going to be their main source of income, she needs to figure out how to make it work. And then, Brittany, you get the new Instagram picture over the weekend, which Harry, Meghan Spare pointed out, sure, Meg, when did you take this photo? Wearing a sweater in the middle of summer. And again, it's like, what's that?
If the Sussexes make money by leaning on royal and Diana-linked material, can the king object while also keeping the family door open? The difficulty for Charles is that he is not only Harry's father, he is also the head of the institution Harry keeps discussing, challenging, and orbiting. A private father might want to forgive everything for the sake of grandchildren. A king has to think about precedent, public confidence, and the dignity of the crown. Every time Harry is welcomed back into a royal space, the palace must wonder whether that visit will remain a family memory or become part of a future public story. That is why access has become so sensitive. It is not just about whether Harry can sleep at a palace or visit his father. It is about whether royal proximity becomes raw material. In that sense, the Althorp photo is a warning not only to William, but to the whole family. Once a private moment is posted, the family cannot pull it back. The Highgrove meeting is a useful contrast. Harry and Meghan reportedly did not release photographs from their meeting with Charles and Camilla. That restraint may have been required by the palace, or it may have been a choice. Either way, it showed that boundaries can be observed. But critics argue that not posting Highgrove does not prove the Sussexes have changed. It only proves they did not post those images yet. The Althorp photo, in their view, was more emotionally sensitive anyway. The king may be willing to forgive, but William may be less willing to assume that private family moments will remain private forever. This is where trust becomes the central issue. The royal family can survive criticism, it can survive bad headlines, it can survive estrangement. What it struggles to survive inside the family is a lack of trust. If William believes that anything near Harry and Meghan could one day appear in a documentary, memoir, interview, or Instagram post, then there is no basis for relaxed family intimacy. If Charles believes the grandchildren should know him, he may accept that risk. William, as the future king, may not. That difference between father and heir is becoming more visible with every Sussex return to Britain. There is also a broader public memory at stake.
It's been interesting to watch because I think it's gotten as high as 886,000. And then before her rebrand and relaunch, it dipped down to 879 or 78,000, almost to 877, then jumped back up to 886. Now it's back down again. And it has stayed within this like couple thousand range. It's not really growing. And the thing is, Harry and Meghan have seemingly designed this company, maybe potentially, or see it as their only cash cow, because it is their only cash cow.
Diana has been photographed, analysed, sentimentalised, dramatised, defended, and argued over for nearly 3 decades since her death. Every anniversary brings a wave of coverage, and much of it is not produced by her family at all. Television networks, magazines, newspapers, authors, royal experts, and streaming services all know that Diana still commands attention. William cannot stop the world from revisiting her life, but he can try to keep his own children and his own family grief outside the commercial machinery. That is probably why even a small hint of Althorp on a personal Instagram account feels larger than it looks. It lands in a culture already prepared to turn Diana into an annual event, a documentary subject, a debate topic, and a ratings opportunity. Harry may see the situation differently because his entire adult public identity has been shaped by the pain of losing her in his mind. Speaking about Diana may feel like refusing silence. Bringing Archie and Lilibet to Althorp may feel like completing a circle that death interrupted. Sharing a glimpse of that journey may feel, to him and Meghan, like a tender family moment rather than a media strategy. That is the most generous reading. But public figures are judged not only by what they feel, but by what their choices do in the outside world. A private photograph stays inside the family. A posted photograph becomes content. Once it becomes content, people ask why it was posted, why now, who benefits, and what story it is meant to tell. The source also moved from Althorp to Harry's appearance at a Santa Barbara County first responder peer support town hall connected to 1805, a non-profit supporting first responders and their mental wellness. That event is real, and it deserves a more responsible treatment than the cruelest commentary around it. First responders face repeated exposure to trauma, and peer support structures can be vital. Harry has experience as a military veteran and has spent years talking publicly about mental health, resilience, and stigma. It is understandable that an organization might invite him to speak about the importance of people being able to talk openly and seek help. At the same time, critics question whether Harry's public mental health advocacy has become too tangled with his own unresolved family drama. They argue that he often speaks about healing while still appearing trapped in grievance. They see a man estranged from much of his family, fighting legal and security battles and revisiting old pain again and again. That does not disqualify him from supporting mental health causes. People who have struggled can sometimes speak powerfully to others who struggle. But it does create a tension. Harry wants to be seen as a voice of resilience, yet his public life often looks unsettled. The fairest way to frame the 1805 appearance is this. Harry's involvement may have helped draw attention to a worthy local cause, but it also showed how small his public world can seem compared with the global royal role he once had. He was once a central figure in an international monarchy, representing the crown, building Invictus, and appearing on major world stages. Now he is often seen in smaller, localized events in California, while the headlines around him remain dominated by lawsuits, family disputes, and Meghan's public imagery. That contrast feeds the narrative of a prince whose life has narrowed since leaving royal duty. But there is a danger in mocking the cause because of the speaker. First responders' mental health is serious. The 2018 Montecito debris flow, wildfires, crashes, violence, and repeated emergency work have real psychological consequences for the people who respond. 1805's work, including mental wellness support and confidential counseling, is meaningful. Criticizing Harry's judgment does not require belittling the people he spoke to or the mission of the organization. If anything, the better criticism is that Harry should let the cause remain bigger than his personal drama. When he appears at such events, the story should be about first responders, not about whether his life looks smaller or whether he should get a different job. This is a recurring problem for Harry. His strongest public work happens when he focuses on service. Invictus, veterans, wounded service members, children with serious illness, mental health, and first responder support. His weakest public image appears when service is overshadowed by grievance, lawsuits, security demands, or family exposure. The 1805 event could have been a straightforward local story about supporting peer volunteers. Instead, in the broader Sussex news cycle, it became another piece of the debate about whether Harry has substance beyond his title. That is unfortunate, but it is also the consequence of how much controversy surrounds him. The commercial question keeps returning, because money is the pressure underneath many of these stories. Harry and Meghan have expensive lives and uneven income streams, their old audio deals gone. Netflix remains a complicated question, with some projects continuing and others debated. Meghan's lifestyle brand has not yet proved itself as a stable global powerhouse. Harry's legal battles are expensive. Security is expensive. California and Portugal are expensive. If the couple cannot rely indefinitely on giant deals, then royal symbolism becomes even more valuable. Diana's memory, family photos, royal titles, and UK visits all become attention assets. This is why the accusation of commercializing Diana hits so hard. It is not only about one image. It is about the fear that Harry and Meghan's financial and reputational needs may push them toward the most emotionally valuable material left. Diana, the children, and the unresolved pain between the brothers.
It's so true, Dan. I think Meghan is constantly taking pictures, and Harry, in some instances, might think these are just innocent pictures my wife wants to take. However, I think Harry might find at some point in divorce proceedings that Meghan Markle was building a case against him for either custody of the kids, more money, what have you, the entire time. Meghan is constantly following around taking pictures. And again, I photograph royals for a living as well. I take a lot of pictures. I enjoy that. But at the same time, like there's a time and a place for things. And I think Meghan is doing everything with.
Harry's story has already mined the palace. William, Charles, Camilla, Meghan's struggles, the press, and his own trauma. What remains with comparable emotional force? Diana's 30th anniversary is the obvious answer. And that is why critics are watching so closely. Yet a careful distinction is necessary. Harry has a right to speak about his mother. Meghan has a right to support her husband in remembering his mother. Their children have a right to know their grandmother's story. The problem is not remembrance. The problem is monetized remembrance, or even the appearance of it. If Harry marks the 30th anniversary through private family reflection or carefully chosen charitable work connected to Diana's causes, the reaction may be different. If the anniversary becomes a streaming event, a brand-adjacent photo narrative, or another chapter in the Sussex victimhood story, the backlash will be enormous. Prince William's likely view is shaped by the fact that he has his own children to protect. George, Charlotte, and Louis will grow up with Diana as a grandmother they never knew, but also as a global myth. William has to teach them about her in a way that is loving but not overwhelming.
What will generate the interest? That's why the game with the kids, and Meghan knows as well, the game with the kids that she plays fuels negative talk about her children online, and yet she continues to do it. She continues to exploit her kids and throw them up to the wolves in order to kind of move and grow her Instagram in some sort of way. And it's just pretty disgusting, and I think, again, proves who Meghan Markle really is. She's just shallow, vain, and vapid. It's all about the Instagram clicks, all about the follows.
He also has to protect them from becoming characters in the ongoing Diana industry. If Harry and Meghan use Archie and Lilibet in Diana-linked imagery, it creates a comparison between the grandchildren. It suggests one branch of the family is more emotionally connected, more authentic, more willing to show grief. That is unfair to every child involved. The Spencer side of the family adds another layer. Charles Spencer has often maintained a relationship with Harry, and Althorp is his home and estate. If he hosted the Sussexes, that is a family matter. But once photographs circulate publicly, the Spencer estate becomes part of the Sussex media ecosystem, whether he intended it or not. Charles Spencer has generally been protective of Diana's resting place, which is not open to the public in the way a normal grave might be. That privacy is part of the meaning of the site. Public hints from the estate therefore carry extra weight. Althorp also matters because it is not a palace stage. Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Sandringham, and Trooping the Colour are public symbols by design.
And Harry, if he was choosing, like, Meghan is probably about the worst person you can possibly choose to be a royal spouse, because they have no respect for the institution. They have no respect for what came before them. It is only ever all about their personal gain. And I think sometimes that clicks for Harry, but he also has to deny that, because to realize that his wife is just using and exploiting him, I think probably disturbs him to a certain extent. But that's who he decided to marry, despite everybody in his life telling him she was a bad idea. He did it anyways, and now he's living with the consequences, and so are his children.
Indeed, and his sort of life.
They are meant to be seen, photographed, and folded into national ceremony. Althorp is different. It is private family land, and Diana's grave is associated with stillness, memory, and distance from the crowd. That difference changes the emotional rules. A royal balcony photograph invites public interpretation. A photograph connected to a grave invites discomfort. Even if the image does not show the grave itself, the surrounding suggestion is powerful enough to create the same reaction. Viewers do not need confirmation when the visual language points them toward flowers, children, a bereaved son, and Diana's childhood home. This is why William's reported reaction, if accurate, would not be petty jealousy or simple anger at Meghan receiving attention. It would be about guardianship. William is not only Diana's elder son, he is the future king, the father of a future king, and one of the few people who can speak from the inside of that loss without turning it into performance. His silence around Diana often says as much as Harry's speeches. It says some pain does not need to be constantly translated for the public.
Or that any charity really gives him the time of day anymore, because he just comes across as, Dan, I would argue, mentally unstable. He is not in a good place mentally, hasn't been for years by his own admission. I don't think any of the psychotherapy or whatever he's doing has actually helped him at all. And he has damaged relations with all his family, basically. And so you're inviting this guy in to help other people who have actually experienced real trauma, responding to a car accident or a plane accident or a murder or something like that. That's real trauma.
It says memory can be protected by refusing to feed the market. That is a hard position to maintain when another branch of the family is more willing to use emotion publicly, but it is also why William's restraint has become part of his authority. The source's harshest language about Meghan should be set aside because it goes beyond fair commentary into personal attack. A more careful criticism is enough. Meghan appears to understand the power of image and timing, and she often chooses images that carry maximum emotional charge. That is not proof of malice. It is proof of media skill. The difficulty is that when media skill is applied to sacred family subjects, it can feel cold, a beautiful image can still be poorly judged, a meaningful visit can still be mishandled. A mother's photo album can still become a brand asset. For Harry, the question is whether he sees that. He has spent years describing the harm caused by cameras, press attention, and the commodification of private pain. Yet his own household now releases carefully selected images that trigger exactly those debates. If he is comfortable with that, critics will call him hypocritical. If he is not fully comfortable but allows it anyway, critics will say he has lost control of his own narrative. Either way, the Althorp image makes his anti-media message harder to sustain. He cannot condemn all intrusion while participating in selective exposure without expecting scrutiny. Meghan's supporters might respond that controlled storytelling is the antidote to intrusion. Instead of letting tabloids define her, she defines herself. Instead of allowing paparazzi to capture her children, she releases careful glimpses. Instead of letting hostile outlets own the narrative, she uses her platform. That argument has merit in modern celebrity culture. But royalty is not ordinary celebrity, and Diana is not ordinary family history. The standards are higher because the symbolism is heavier. Control over the image does not remove responsibility for the meaning of the image. The as-ever follower and traffic debate also shows the limits of attention. A controversial photo album can drive headlines, but it does not automatically build a sustainable business. People may visit Meghan's page out of curiosity, outrage, sympathy, or fascination. That does not mean they buy products, return as customers, or believe in the brand. Critics tracking public data claim the brand's momentum is uneven. Supporters may argue that scarcity, premium positioning, and limited drops are part of the strategy. The truth will be visible only over time. But for now, the brand still appears dependent on Meghan herself generating news. That dependence is risky because controversy is not the same as loyalty. A customer who loves a product returns because the product is good. A viewer who clicks because of royal drama may not buy anything. If Meghan's biggest spikes come from royal conflict, then as ever remains tied to the Sussex soap opera rather than becoming a mature lifestyle company. That is why critics say she has to do the unglamorous work of building a business, product consistency, availability, quality, customer trust, and a reason to exist beyond Duchess branding. Harry faces a similar challenge with purpose. He can attend first responder events, support veterans, talk about mental health, and speak about resilience. But if the public conversation always circles back to Diana, Meghan, security, lawsuits, and royal estrangement, the work does not become the headline, the drama does. That is the great tragedy of his post-royal life. He has causes that could matter, but his unresolved family story keeps swallowing them. The 30th anniversary of Diana's death will test both brothers. William will likely want dignity, restraint, and limited public exposure. Harry may want a more emotional, expressive approach. The public will be hungry for Diana content, and media companies will be eager to provide it. The question is whether Harry and Meghan can resist turning that appetite into another platform for themselves. If they can, it may slightly rebuild trust. If they cannot, the Althorp image will be remembered as the warning sign everyone saw coming. For King Charles, the issue is boundaries. He can love Harry, see his grandchildren, and keep a door open. But he cannot control how every gesture is used unless he sets clear rules. No photos from private meetings, no hints from sensitive locations, no royal access converted into brand material, no private reconciliation used to pressure the institution. If the Sussexes want family access, they must accept family privacy. That is the only way trust can begin to return. For William, the answer may be distance. He does not need to issue statements or engage in public battles over every Sussex move. His strength is steadiness. He and Catherine can continue raising their children, performing duties, and protecting the future monarchy. The public already understands the contrast. One side offers continuity, the other side offers constant content. The longer that contrast remains, the less William needs to say. For Harry and Meghan, the lesson is sharper. They cannot keep asking to be judged by their intentions while ignoring the effect of their actions. They may intend to honor Diana, they may intend to protect their children, they may intend to build a brand, support mental health, and live independently. But if the public sees exploitation, contradiction, and strategy, intention will not be enough. Public trust is built through patterns, and the Sussex pattern has made trust difficult. In the end, the Althorp photo was powerful because it condensed the entire Sussex problem into one image. Children shown, but not fully shown, Diana invoked, but not named, privacy claimed, but publicity generated, family memory presented through a public platform, and royal emotion converted into global attention. That is why the backlash was so strong. It was not only about one photograph, it was about years of accumulated doubt. The coming year will reveal whether critics are right to fear a wider commercialization of Diana's anniversary. Perhaps Harry and Meghan will show restraint. Perhaps the Althorp image will remain a single, imperfectly judged family glimpse. But if more Diana-linked content appears, if streaming rumors intensify, if the children become more central to the narrative, and if as ever continues to rely on royal-adjacent attention, the reaction will grow harsher. Diana's memory still belongs to the public imagination, but first and foremost, it belongs to her sons. And one of those sons appears determined to protect it quietly, while the other keeps placing it near the center of his public story. That difference may be the deepest wound between William and Harry now.